Good morning, dear students. Myself, Dr. G.S. Shinde from Department of Botany. I am going to teach Botany paper second, Morphology and Anatomy. So, in this paper, we are going to study the two parts of the plants, that is the morphology and anatomy. So, the syllabus for Botany paper second has been divided into 2 credits. The first credit is based on morphology and the second credit is for anatomy. So credit first, where there are 2 chapters, morphology and morphology of reproductive parts. In the second chapter, morphology of reproductive parts, we are going to study the inflorescence, flower and fruit. So this is about the credit first, which is based on morphology. The second credit is for anatomy. So in this credit we have 3 chapters: anatomy, types of tissue, and the last one is the internal organization of primary plant body. So this is our Botany paper second syllabus for morphology and anatomy. So now from this lecture we are going to start the credit first. So in the credit first, the first chapter is the morphology. So morphology, it is also called as the external structure of the plant organs. Plant morphology is the study of gross external structure of plant organs. Morphology forms the basis of taxonomic descriptions and generally constitutes the most important data for classification of plants into different groups. So morphology forms the basis and it provides the information for the classification of the plant into the different groups. Plant morphology is the study of external structure of the plant and plant organ. It is the fundamental branch of science that deals with the external structure of the plant that we call it as the plant morphology. So why we are studying the plant morphology in the botany? What is botany? Botany is the fundamental branch of science that deals with the study of plants. So in botany we are going to study the plants, and the plant morphology is one of the discipline of the botany where the gross external structure of the plant and its organs has been studied. Botany is the study of plants. The study of plants is done with different angles and aspects and also helps to understand plant life in great detail. So the various branches of the botany that has been used for study the plant with different angles and aspects. So these branches helps to understand the plant life in great detail. For example, when we study the external characters, it is known as morphology. So plant morphology, it is the study of gross external structure of the plant organs. So when we study external characters, it is known as morphology. When we study the internal structures, it is known as anatomy. So in this syllabus, the 2 broad disciplines of the botany, that is the morphology and anatomy, that we are going to study. So morphology is the study of external characters, external structures, and anatomy is the study of internal structures. Sometimes we are interested only in the cell structure. Such a study is known as cytology or cell biology. If anyone studies the functions of plants or metabolism that has been found in the plant, then it is called as physiology. The branch of botany which deals with the identification, naming and classification of the plant, it is known as taxonomy. While the branch of botany dealing with the hereditary characters, it is known as genetics. So these are the various disciplines of the botany where the plants has been studied with different angles and aspects. The purpose behind this is to understand the plant life in great detail. For that, we study the external and internal characters and structures of the plant in the morphology and anatomy. If we study the cell structure, then it is cytology. If we know the function or metabolism in plant, it is physiology. If you are dealing with the identification, nomenclature and classification of the plant, it is taxonomy. When it is concerned with the study of hereditary characters, it is known as genetics. So these are the different angles and the aspects from which the plants has been studied in the various disciplines of the botany. And morphology is one of the discipline of botany where the study of gross external structure of the plant organs has been carried out. Okay. Then the definition of plant morphology. So plant morphology is defined as the branch of botany dealing with the external features or characters or structures of a plant. It is called as plant morphology. So plant morphology deals with the study of external features or characters or structure of a plant. It is also known as external morphology. External morphology means it is the study of external structures, characters or features. So it is called as external morphology. Plant morphology, it is also called as phytomorphology, is the study of physical form and external structures of the plants. The external structures, size and shape of whole plants, its leaf, root, stem, flower, fruit, even seed is studied under morphology. So all the external structures of the plant, right from root, stem, leaf, flower, fruit, even seed, is studied under morphology. It is the study of physical form and external structure of plants. External structures, its size, shape of whole plant is studied in the plant morphology. The habit of any plant such as herb, shrub, climber, twiner, tree is the morphological nature of that plant. The color of flower, fruit and seed are also described in morphology. So morphology comprises detailed description of the external structures of the plant right from root, stem, leaf to the seed of the plant. The habit of the plant, for example, it is herb or shrub or climber or twiner or tree. These are the morphological characters of the plant. Similarly, the color of the flower, fruit, seed are also described in the morphology. So first we are going to study the descriptive morphology. Descriptive morphology is the branch of biology that deals with the form and structure of organisms without consideration of functions. So in the branch of biology that we called as descriptive morphology, where the study of form and structure of organisms has been carried out without consideration of its function. Here the gross description of form and structure of the organism has been carried out in the descriptive morphology. In descriptive morphology, the morphological characters or features of the plant are broadly described in morphological terms. So morphological characters right from root, stem, leaf to the seed has been described in great detail in morphological terms. So descriptive morphology deals with the study of form and structure of the organisms in great details in morphological terms without consideration of its function. Descriptive morphology gives the detailed description of plant body in general, including its root, shoot, flower, fruit and seed. Minor details like scales, hairs, ornamentations, spines, colors, pigmentations, outgrowth, variation pattern, spore structure and are also studied in the descriptive morphology. So detailed description of the plant body in general, including its root, stem, flower, fruit, seed, has been carried out in the descriptive morphology. Furthermore, the minor details that has been also seen in the plant body like hairs, scales, spines, colors, pigmentation, outgrowth, that was also studied in the descriptive morphology. Mostly general or very common description of the plant without any quantification, comparisons or any type of interpretation is given in the descriptive morphology. So in descriptive morphology, the common description in detail for the plant has been studied without any quantification or comparison or any type of interpretation has been given in the descriptive morphology. It describes the plant structures in detail only without any quantification comparison. Okay, so this is the descriptive morphology where the form and the structure of organisms, for example root, stem, leaf, flower, fruit, seed. In addition to this, minor details like scales, hair, spines, pigmentation, outgrowths are studied in the descriptive morphology, where the detailed description of the plant body has been carried out without any quantification, comparison or any type of interpretation. That is the descriptive morphology. Descriptive morphology includes morphology of vegetative as well as reproductive structures. So vegetative structures consist of root, stem and leaf, while the reproductive structures, it is the inflorescence and flower. Flower consists of calyx, corolla, androecium and gynoecium. So androecium and gynoecium, these are the reproductive structures found in the flower. So descriptive morphology includes the study of morphology of vegetative as well as reproductive structures. The reproductive morphology, which is concerned with the study of reproductive structures, is more varied and still very specific to a particular group or family. The detailed study of descriptive morphology of reproductive parts led to discovery of the alternation of generation found in all plants. So this is commonly observed in the algae. So the detailed morphological structure of reproductive parts has been used for alternation of generation found in the plants. So the alternation of generation that has been commonly observed in a primitive group of the plant that we called as algae. The broad description of the plant in nature or in open fields is taken as field notes and is very helpful for taxonomists in classification and naming of the plant. So the description of the plant that we seen in the open field or in nature has been taken as a field notes, and that is useful or helpful for taxonomists in classification and naming of the plants. Descriptive morphology indicates the overall architecture of the plant. So it describes the overall structure of the plant without considering its function, that is called as descriptive morphology. Next to this is the interpretative morphology. Interpretative morphology is the study of morphological characters with interpretation of origin, development, phylogeny, growth pattern, etc. It is also the study of morphological characters with interpretation of origin, development, phylogeny, growth pattern. So once we say that the descriptive morphology, it is concerned with the detailed study of plant organs or plant structures without consideration of phylogeny or the similarity and the differences that has been found in the plant group. The interpretative morphology, it deals with the study of morphological characters with origin, development, phylogeny and growth pattern that has been used for find out the similarity and the differences between the plant group. So interpretative morphology concerned with the study of morphological characters, and these characters has been interpreted for the origin, development, phylogeny and growth pattern of the different plant groups. On the basis of knowledge of interpretative morphology, plant origin and development is analyzed. It is correlated and interpreted and assigned to their taxonomic group. For example, particular species or a variety or cultivar. So the plant origin, its development, that has been correlated, interpreted and assigned to the taxonomic group. So the morphological characters has been used to find out the plant origin, development, and that has been correlated for assignment of the plant to the particular taxonomic group. The outcome of interpretative morphology is the manifestation of environmental or ecological conditions and physiological status of a plant. The specific morphological variations are interpreted and analyzed to deduce certain conclusions. So interpretative morphology is mostly concerned with to trace out the origin, development and the phylogeny of the plant. That has been used for making a correlation or the dissimilarities between the different plant groups. The similarities and differences in morphological structures between plant groups, for example, bryophytes, pteridophytes, gymnosperm and angiosperm. These are the plant groups. So the similarities and the differences between these plant groups has been used to find out the origin and the development of the different plant. For example, the bryophytic group has given rise to primitive pteridophytes. So if you see the structures, the morphological features of the bryophytes and the pteridophytes, it has been seen that the bryophytic group has given rise to the primitive pteridophytes. Similarly, some pteridophytic lines may be the ancestors of the gymnosperm, or gymnosperm may be evolved from the some pteridophytic lines. So these conclusions we interpreted on the basis of the similarity and the differences found in the morphological structures between the different plant groups. That has been interpreted in the interpretative morphology that deals with the study of morphological characters with the interpretation of origin, development, phylogeny and growth pattern. For instance, the morphological similarity between the gymnospermic groups such as reticulate venation in leaf, male and female flowers, anatomy in Netum helps us to interpret that angiosperm have evolved from Nattalian group which is known as Proangiosperm. So this is the output of interpretative morphology where we can correlate, we can find out the origin and the evolution of the certain plant group. Here for example, if you see that the angiosperm has been evolved from the gymnosperm, so this has been made on the basis of certain morphological similarities such as reticulate venation in leaf, male and female flowers, the primitive vessels that are found in the Netum. So that helps to interpret that angiosperm have evolved from the Nattalian group which is known as Proangiosperm. The morphology of collar in Ginkgo biloba ovule is interpreted in various ways by morphologists and concluded that this structure is very similar to ones found in angiosperm. So one of the example has been given. The morphology of the collar in Ginkgo biloba ovule has been studied, and from this it has been interpreted that this structure is very similar to ones found in the angiosperm. The morphology of sepals, petals is very similar, hence it is interpreted that the previous one has given rise to the present. The similarities in the vegetative and reproductive morphology of different groups of families of angiosperms are highly useful for the interpretation of origin and evolution of different lines of plant families in angiosperm. So the different plant families in the angiosperm has been originated and they evolved from the other or different groups of families. So this has been concluded from the similarities in the vegetative and the reproductive morphology of different groups of the plant. The phylogenetic interrelationship among different plant groups is explained on the basis of interpretative morphology. So interpretative morphology comprises the morphological study with respect to the origin, development, phylogeny and growth pattern that is used to find out the similarities and the differences between the different plant group, and on the basis of which one has to interpret the phylogenetic interrelationship between or among the different plant groups. So that has been explained with the help of interpretative morphology. Okay. Next is the importance of morphology in identification. So here the knowledge of morphology that we are used in identification, that is the importance of morphology in identification. Identification of plants and their classification into different families is primarily based on morphological features of the plant, as they are easily seen, differentiated and even practiced in field or in nature. So identification of the plant and their classification into different groups or the families, that has been made on the basis of morphological features or characters, and these are the external characters, so they can be easily seen, differentiated and even practiced in the field or in nature. Morphology is the basic stepping stone of taxonomy. Taxonomy, it is concerned with the identification, nomenclature and classification. So all these activities that has been carried out in the taxonomy are based on morphology, that is the external features or the characters of the plant. It is the simplest as well as the easiest source of data collection, which is further used in taxonomy. In fact, the first system of plant classification was based on habit and morphological character. So here the importance of morphology that has been given in identification. Theophrastus, who is known as the father of botany, has classified the plants into 4 groups as herbs, undershrubs, shrubs and trees. So this classification made by the father of botany, Theophrastus, on the basis of the habit and morphological character. So the first system of plant classification that was made by Theophrastus, who is known as father of botany, divided or classified the plants into 4 groups, that is herbs, undershrubs, shrubs and trees. Some taxonomists use morphology of flowers, fruits and seeds to classify the plants. English botanist John Ray published the system of classification based on forms and gross morphological structure of plants. He divided the plant kingdom as herbae and aerobores. So this is the way of classification which is based on the gross morphological characters, features or the structures of the plant. So morphology having a great importance in the identification of the plant. The identification of the plant has been carried out on the basis of the knowledge of morphological features or the characters. So the morphology is the basic stepping stone of taxonomy that comprises identification, nomenclature and the classification of the plant. If we see the history of the plant classification, the first system of plant classification that was developed by Theophrastus, because of which who is known as the father of botany. So he classified the plants on the basis of habit and other morphological characters into the 4 different groups as herbs, undershrubs, shrubs and trees. Similarly, English botanist John Ray, who divided the plant kingdom as herbae and aerobores. So they divide plant kingdom on the basis of forms and gross morphological structure of plants. Whatever may be the system of classification, whether it is natural, artificial, classical, modern or ultra modern, the system have to first consider the broad base of classification, that is the morphology. So all systems of classification has been based on the morphology. They first consider the broad base of classification, that is the morphology. Morphological characters even today are considered as the most basic and essential characters in any system of classification. Morphological features are the first and foremost characters visible to the observer of any branch of science, and these morphological characters are the features that has been used in the system of classification, or all the classification system having a most basic and essential morphological characters. So morphological features that has been used by observers in any branch of science, for example agriculture, horticulture, botany, pharmacognosy, paleobotany, palynology, plant breeding, bioinformatics, genetics, or even biotechnology, where the morphological features are studied. These morphological features are the first and the foremost characters visible to the observer of any branch of science. So once if anyone has to do the study of the plant, the first and foremost characters that has been visible to him is the morphological features or characters, because these are the external characters or the external features that are seen easily and on the basis of which he can study the plant. So this is the importance of morphology. The most commonly used morphological characters are plant height, habit, root, stem, branching, phyllotaxy, size and shape of leaves, types, its margin, types of venation, apex, inflorescence, flower, calyx, corolla, androecium, gynoecium, pollen grain, fruit, seed, its size, color and shape. These are the morphological characters that has been used in the identification of the plant. So these characters are easily seen by the observer of any branch of science. So by the use of these morphological characters, one can identify the plant. So these morphological characters right from habit to the seed has been used for the identification of the plant. So this is the importance of morphology in identification. Next is the importance of morphology in nomenclature. So nomenclature means naming the plant, give the name to the plant, that we call it as the nomenclature. Nomenclature means naming the plant or give the name to the plant, that is called as the nomenclature. In taxonomy, binomial nomenclature is followed for naming the plant. So the word used is the binomial, means it comprises two names. The first name is the name of the genus and the second name is the name of the species. So this is the nomenclature system where two names has been assigned while giving a name to the plant. So in taxonomy, binomial nomenclature is followed for naming the plant. The first name is the name of the genus and the second name is the name of the species. The name of the species of genera are given in different manner. These names may be according to the place of origin. So the naming of the plant has been done with different or with the use of morphology. For example, here the place of origin has been considered for giving a name to the mango plant. The scientific name of the mango is Mangifera indica, indicates that the origin of mango is in India. Indica, India. Okay, so the species name of the Mangifera has been given from its origin, that is in India. So the name of the mango, it is Mangifera indica. Another example is of the plant Bauhinia purpurea. The Bauhinia genus is named after John and Caspar Bauhin, who were Swiss herbalists. So from the name of plant taxonomists, the name of some plants has been given. For example, Bauhinia purpurea. So this Bauhinia genus is named after John and Caspar Bauhin. Similar to this, in many plants, the botanical names are assigned to them according to the special morphological features found in them, so that it will be easy to identify the plants in nature. So the botanical names has been given to the plants or assigned to the plant with the help of special morphological characters that has been found in that plant. There are several examples in plant kingdom where lead morphology is used to name the species or genus. So here we are describing the importance of morphology in nomenclature. So the morphological characters or the features has been used for assigning botanical name to the plant. So there are several examples in the plant kingdom where the morphology has been used for naming the plant or in nomenclature. So some important examples we are discussed here. In Jingo, the leaves are bilobed. Leaves are bilobed. Hence the name of the species is Jingo biloba because the leaves are bilobed. So the species name is the biloba. Okay. In Ipomea, the leaves are simple as compared to the other genera which have compound leaves. Hence the name of its species is Ipomea simplicifolia. Okay, so this simplicifolia, this species name has been arises from the morphological character as the leaves are simple as compared to the other genera where that having the compound leaves. So in Ipomea, the leaves are simple. So the species name is Simplicifolia. The full name is Ipomea. It is the genus. Simplicifolia is the species. So the name of the species given to this Ipomea plant is from the morphological character. The leaves are simple. So the name is Ipomea simplicifolia. In other species, the leaves are palm-like. Hence the species is Ipomea palmata. Okay. There is another one example. In Capparis, the leaves are totally absent. Hence the name of the species is Capparis aphylla. Phylla means leaves. Aphylla without leaves or the leaves are totally absent. So the name of the species in Capparis is aphylla. Capparis aphylla. In the genus Polyalthea, the leaves are long. Hence the name of the species is Polyalthea longifolia. Folia leaves. They are long. So the species name is longifolia. So in genus Polyalthea, because the leaves are long, the name of the species is longifolia. In one species of Rubia, the leaves are heart shaped. Hence it's named as Rubia cordifolia. Cardiologist we know, so it is concerned with the heart. So in Rubia, the leaves are heart shaped. So the name of the species is cordifolia. Rubia cordifolia. So these are the examples where the naming of the plant has been done with the help of morphological characters. Or one can say that the naming is done on the basis of specialized morphological characters found in that plant or in a particular plant. Like leaf morphology, the fruit morphology is also used in naming the plants. For example, in one species of Cassia, the fruits, these are the pods, are just like a long pipe. Hence the name of the species is Cassia fistula. The meaning of the fistula in Greek it is pipe. So in Cassia, the fruits are just like a long pipe. So the name of the species is fistula. The full name that is Cassia fistula on the basis of fruit morphology. In one plant of crucifery, the flowers show union of gynoecium and androecium. So this is the one of the special morphological characters where there is a union of gynoecium and androecium in the flowers, and it has 5 lobed leaves. So two characters has been considered, it having 5 lobed leaves and there is a union of gynoecium and androecium in the flower. So the name of the genus and species for this plant is Gynandropsis pentaphylla. Gynandropsis. So this is based on the union of gynoecium and androecium. The species name pentaphylla because it having 5 lobed leaves. 5 phylla leaves, penta 5. So this plant having 5 lobed leaves. So the name of the species is pentaphylla. The name of the genus is Gynandropsis because the flowers show the union of gynoecium and androecium. Many times the spines, hairs or appendages on the plants becomes the botanical names of that species. For example, in genus Catenarigum, spines are present on the whole plant body. Hence the name of its species is Spinosa. Because of the spines that has been present on the whole body, the species name is Spinosa. Same is the case in some genera like Gossypium hirsutum, Lathyrus hirsutus, Lactuca hirsuti. So in all these genera, the plant body shows presence of appendages. So hirsutum means appendages. So the species name in this plant has been given on the basis of presence of appendages on their plant body. For example, in case of cotton, the appendages has been seen on the plant body, so the species is Hirsutum, Gossypium hirsutum. Another one is the Lathyrus hirsutus, Lactuca hirsuti. So all these species name has been given on the basis of presence of appendages on the plant body. Okay, so this is the importance of morphology in nomenclature. Another one example is in Magnolia. The flowers are very big, therefore its species is named as Magnolia grandiflora, because flower is very big. Flora means flower, big, grandiflora. Same for Cryptostagia grandiflora. So in the Magnolia or in Cryptostagia, the flowers are very big, so the name of the species is grandiflora. The gigantic nature of one species in the genus Calotropis is indicated by its species as Calotropis gigantea. Okay, because of the gigantic nature of species in the genus Calotropis, so species name has been given by its gigantic nature, that is gigantea. In one species of Polyanthus, the stem is underground and tuberose. Therefore, the species is named Polyanthus tuberosa, because stem is underground and tuberose, so the species name is tuberosa. In some plants, the specific type of inflorescence may become the name of its species. For example, specific type of inflorescence. For example, Asparagus racemosus. So the species name racemosus has been given with raceme type of inflorescence found in the plant. Okay, so in Asparagus genus, the raceme type of inflorescence has been seen, so the name of the species is Racemosus. In this, mostly the special morphological characters are considered. The naming of plants is according to the rules of ICBM, International Code of Botanical Nomenclature. So the naming of the plant has been done with the help of morphological characters or morphology, that is the special morphological features that are found in the plant. So these are the some examples where the naming of the species and the genus has been done on the basis of morphology or morphological character. So this is all for today. So in this lecture we study the definition of morphology, descriptive morphology, interpretative morphology, then importance of morphology in identification, importance of morphology in nomenclature. So this is all for today. Thank you. Stay home, stay safe.